Blank Game Week 29 will either ruin or save your season. Watch this video and you will understand why. I am Sakafusi, welcome to our channel. In this video we will analyze what happened in Game Week 28, identify the teams with the easiest and hardest fixtures for the next 6 game weeks, highlight the best players for the upcoming fixtures, discuss the best strategy for navigating the blank and double game weeks, and review the decisions we are making for our team. This is my team. Game week 28 was quite average as we only collected 57 points, resulting in a small red arrow to 73k. Fortunately, we picked the right captain. In this case, I can say we were a bit lucky because apart from the two penalties his team won, Salah did absolutely nothing in that match. On the other hand, Palmer missed a penalty. Other than that, only Munoz and Sels managed to get any points beyond just appearing in the match. The huge difference in points between Salah and Palmer sparked the usual debate about whether a decision is right or wrong based purely on the result. Many people argue that choosing Palmer as a captain was a bad decision just because Salah scored 2 goals while Palmer scored none, sorry. I believe this logic is completely flawed. Even though I personally chose Salah as captain, I think those who picked Palmer made a reasonable choice, even if it did not pay off in the end. If we judge the validity of our decisions solely based on the outcome and not the reasoning behind them, then anyone who transferred in one of the players from the screen last game week make a mistake. These are the 11 players who scored the most points, meaning that according to this result-based logic, the right transfers last game week would have been Van Hecke, Hudson-Odoi or Darwin Núñez. However, I doubt anyone would actually agree with this reasoning. Decisions should be judged based on the validity of the methodology, not just the outcome. So, what is the correct methodology for making the best possible decisions? We start by analyzing team performances so far this season. In this chart, we can see the expected goals each team has scored and conceded. The closer a team is to the bottom right corner, the better they are. The farthest right team in this chart is Liverpool, who have averaged around 1.9 expected goals per match while conceding only 0.9. This makes them the best attacking team and the second best defensive team. As we can see, the only team with a lower expected goals conceded than Liverpool is Arsenal, who are close to 0.8. Meanwhile, the second best attack belongs to Chelsea, who have around 1.8 expected goals per match. On the other hand, the worst teams are located in the upper left corner. For example, Southampton is the team closest to that corner, having scored less than 1 goal per game, around 0.4 expected goals per match, while conceding over 2 goals per game. This chart is crucial because it serves as the foundation for evaluating fixture difficulty. For instance, if a striker facing Southampton, Ipswich or Leicester is far more likely to score than one playing against Arsenal or Liverpool. Conversely, for defenders, facing teams on the left side of the chart increases the chances of keeping a clean sheet, while facing teams on the far right, such as Liverpool and Chelsea, makes it much more likely they will concede goals. Now, using these statistics and some advanced algorithms, we can calculate the exact probability of a team conceding, keeping a clean sheet or scoring in the upcoming game weeks. This table shows fixture difficulty in terms of attacking performance. Wolves are in the top with a difficulty rating of 0.98, meaning that over the next 7 games they are expected to score 2% fewer goals than their average. This is mainly because in double Game Week 33, rules have only one match. If Game Week 33 were not a double, rules difficulty rating will be much higher. Right behind them, we see Newcastle with a rating of 0.93. Even though they have one more match than Wolves in Game Week 33, they are second because they do not have a fixture in Game Week 29. Also, high on the list are Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. We will look at whether any of their players could be good transfer targets shortly in the video. At the other end of the spectrum, teams like Aston Villa, Brentford and Everton are near the bottom of the list, meaning it would be best to avoid their players. We will see an exception later. Now, let's look at fixture difficulty for defenders. Arsenal leads the list with a clean sheet probability of 2.11, meaning that over the next 7 games they are expected to keep 2.11 clean sheets. Liverpool and Nottingham Forest follow closely behind. It is worth considering defenders from these teams if we are looking for clean sheet potential. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the list, we find Southampton, Ipswich and Leicester, teams that are highly unlikely to keep clean sheets in the upcoming fixtures. After analyzing team strength, we now examine individual player performance, starting with forwards. This chart displays the expected goals and expected assists of the league's best strikers. The further right a player is, the higher his expected goals, while the higher he is, the more expected assists he has. Ideally, we want our forwards to be as close as possible to the top right corner. Haaland and Isak are prime examples. They are the best performing forwards in the league so far. Also, positioned high on the chart near the top right are Solanke, Watkins, and two players overlapping each other, Visa and Beto. Now let's look at the same chart for midfielders. The standout performer by far is Mohamed Salah. After him, we see Palmer, Ouattara and Madueke. It is surprising to see Ouattara and Madueke ranked so highly. If you look closely, they are far ahead of the other midfielders. Most midfielders are clustered together, including Semenyo, Mitoma and Gordon. Ouattara and Madueke are outliers, being closer to Palmer and Salah than to the rest. However, as we will see later, expected goals and assists alone are not enough to determine a player's future FPL value. Stay tuned to this video for more details. Now, let's analyze defenders. Since defenders score points both from attacking returns and clean sheets, this chart combines expected goals and assists on one axis and clean sheet probability on the other. The further right a defender is, the more attacking contributions he is expected to have. The higher up he is, the better his clean sheets chances. Gabriel stands out as the defender with the highest clean sheet probability, while Trent Alexander-Arnold is the farthest right, indicating he is the most likely to contribute attacking returns. The player closest to the top right corner combines both aspects, making him the best FPL defender at the moment. That player is Trent Alexander-Arnold. We also see that Munoz, Mitchell and Gvardiol are among the standout defenders who deserve further attention. As mentioned earlier, expected goals and assists alone do not determine the best FPL players. We must also consider factors such as a player's minutes per game, penalty duties, and the difficulty of upcoming fixtures. For example, while Ouattara and Madueke rank highly in expected goals, they do not play many minutes and are not penalty takers. Taking all these factors into account, we will now predict the best players for Game Week 29, including their expected goals, assists, and resulting FPL points. According to this table, the top player is Erling Haaland, who is projected to score 0.82 goals and provide 0.10 assists, translating to 6.4 FPL points. This makes him the best captaincy option for Gameweek 29. In second place is Dango Ouattara, but this ranking assumes he starts, which is uncertain given the return of Evanilson, who seems to be Bournemouth's first choice striker right now. To plan our transfers effectively, we need to consider a longer time frame. Using all the data so far, we project player points from game week 29 to game week 34. Haaland tops the list, overtaking Salah, who drops to third place because he has no fixture in game week 29. In second place, we see Palmer, which may surprise many as he has been in poor form recently and he has barely scored in recent game weeks any goals or assists. However, from past statistics analysis and experience, we know that elite players like Palmer can go through goal droughts, but their class is permanent. They always bounce back, and we should not underestimate them. In fourth place, we see Isaac, who is very close to the top 3. If you look at the projected total points, the top 4 players, Haaland, Palmer, Salah and Isaac, are significantly ahead of the rest. This creates two tiers of players. The first group consists of these 4, whom we ideally want in our team. The second group contains all other players who are closely matched, making it less important which one we own. Therefore, wasting transfers, swapping for example Bowen for Fernandes, would not be optimal since their expected points are similar. Instead, it is better to save transfers for later when blank and double game weeks will make them much more valuable. Before moving on, take a screenshot of this table as it will be very useful when planning your team. Since this table does not show all players, you might have questions about certain ones. Let's now look at the best players by position, starting with forwards. At the top is Haaland, who is projected to score 38.1 points over the next 7 game weeks. Second is Isaac, followed by Visa, Solanke, Beto, Mateta and Wood. All of them are very close in expected points. Many of you have asked who is the best replacement for Cunha, since he is suspended. Clearly Haaland and Isaac are the top forwards. However, Haaland is very expensive and most managers already own Isaac. Since the next best forwards are so close in expected points, you should simply choose the one you like the most. Whether it is Visa, Solanke, Beto, Mateta or Wood, the difference is minimal. If you need a forward specifically for game week 29, Beto is the best option with 5.38 expected points. However, if you are looking for a striker for both game week 29 and 30, Wood is the better pick with 4.28 expected points in game week 29 and 4.45 in game week 30. Now let's check the predictions for midfielders. Here we see two clear standouts, Palmer and Salah, who are well ahead of the rest. After them, the next best midfielders are Bournemouth's trio, Ouattara, Semenyo and Kluivert. However, keep in mind that Ouattara has likely lost his spot to Evanilson, so I would avoid buying him and even consider selling him if you already own him. Beyond Bournemouth's midfielders, Bowen emerges as a solid option, followed by Son, who is very expensive. Next is Bruno Fernandes, another good choice. After him is Gordon, but he's currently suspended and will miss the next two matches. Then comes Mbemo, who is also a decent pick. After that, quality drops significantly, so we should avoid midfielders ranked lower than Mbemo. Let's now review defenders. Gvardiol is at the top of the list, making him the best replacement for Arnold or any other defender you need to transfer out due to the blank game week. Milenkovic is also highly ranked and has been consistently reliable throughout the season. Third on the list is Munoz, who does not play in game week 29 but has confirmed double in game week 33. If you own him and can afford to bench him, do not sell him. He is a fantastic defender with a guaranteed double game week and will be very useful later. Gabriel is also a top choice as Arsenal have the best defense and highest clean sheet probability. If we need a cheap defender to complete our squad, Ryan Knight-Nuri from Wolves is the best pick. Wolves have the easiest fixture schedule in the next few game weeks, and Knight-Nuri is nailed starter with some attacking threat. Now that we have identified the best players using our model, let's see which players managers are transferring in the most this week. At the top is Bruno Fernandes. As we saw earlier, he was among the best midfielders in our rankings, and his transfer is justified since he plays in game week 29. In second place, there is Wood. As mentioned earlier, Wood is one of the best forwards after Haaland and Isaac, making him a great replacement for the suspended Cunha. Third is Kluivert. He was also ranked highly in our predictions. He takes set pieces for Bournemouth and plays close to 90 minutes every match. Considering his low price, he is a great budget midfielder. Fourth is Aina, a defender from Nottingham Forest. As we previously noted, Nottingham Forest have a strong defense with good clean sheet potential. However, if I were to pick a defender from this team, I would prefer Milenkovic, as he also offers goal threats from set pieces. Fifth is another Nottingham Forest player, Gibbs White. Here I strongly disagree with his choice. Gibbs White is an average option for game week 29, but does not offer long-term value. Many better midfielders are available, even at a low price. For example, Kluivert or Semenyo would be a far superior options. Even though Semenyo has frustrated owners with missed chances, he is still a much better pick than Gibbs White. Now, let's discuss the most important part of this video: how to manage our teams in the coming game weeks. Should we make transfers, take hits, use our chips, or wait? Right now, things are very uncertain because we do not know the future schedule. The decisions we make this game week could either save or destroy our season. This table shows an important piece of information: the expected schedule for game week 34. Out of the 10 scheduled matches, 6 could potentially be postponed. This depends on the FA Cup quarter-final results, which take place before game week 30. The outcomes of those matches will determine the game week 34 schedule. According to this table, 6 to 8 teams might not have a fixture in game week 34. The Manchester City vs Aston Villa match is almost certain to be postponed, as City only need to beat Bournemouth in the cup, or Villa need to beat a lower league team. Both highly likely outcomes. We can therefore assume that City and Villa will have no match in game week 34, and their fixture will likely be rescheduled to game week 33, giving them a double game week. Because of this, we should strongly consider bringing in a Manchester City player right now. City not only play in game week 29, but they are also highly likely to have a double game week in 33. This makes it a perfect opportunity to sell Arnold, who blanks in 29, and bring in Gvardiol, who plays in 29, has a likely double in 33, and was ranked highly in our predictions. Beyond that, the rest of the postponed fixtures remain uncertain. The FA Cup quarter-finals winners will determine which games are rescheduled, and the new fixtures could be placed in game week 32, 33, or even midweek during game week 34. Given all this uncertainty, the best strategy is to avoid making hasty transfers. We need to save our most powerful assets, our chips, and wait until we have a confirmed schedule. Our most powerful assets are our chips, free hit and wildcard. These should not be played blindly. We must wait until the schedule is finalized. My recommended strategy is to use free transfers in game week 29, even if it means fielding less than 11 players, and save the chips for later. Taking a -4 hit is only advisable if the transfer is useful because beyond game week 29. Do not take a hit for a player you will need to sell immediately after. For cheap usage, if everything goes as expected, meaning game week 34 is a blank and game week 33 has double fixtures, then the ideal approach is use free transfers to bring in players with double in game week 33, play your free hit in game week 34 to navigate the blanks, and then use the wildcard in 35 to prepare for the final stretch. For the assistant manager chip, the best time to use it is between game week 31, 32 and 33, when double game weeks allow for maximum point gains. If you have no free transfers left for game week 29, then free hit may be your only option. For this reason, I have prepared a free hit draft which I will show to you right now. This is the points for game week 29. Behind the goalpost we have Cells because Nottingham Forest has a solid defense and an easy schedule against Ipswich away. For our defensive line I go for Milenkovic for the same reasons, plus Milenkovic has a good attacking threat from set pieces. I'm also using Guardiola because as we saw earlier, he is a defender with an attacking potential. Manchester City has an okay defense, and Brighton at home is an easy fixture. And I'm also choosing Ait Nouri over every other defender because Southampton away is a fixture to target. I have, of course, it is a free hit. It is a free hit. If you don't have the money for Gabriel, you can pick whichever defender. It doesn't matter. For our midfield, I have the Kluivert and Semenyo for Bournemouth. They are good midfielders with an easy fixture against the Bruno Fernandes is a consistent, good player from Manchester United. He's on set pieces and penalties. He's always a threat, and he plays against Leicester, a good fixture. I'm also using Foden. It's a bit differential in this team. And I have also in my midfield Cole Palmer, even though he plays against Arsenal away, probably the most difficult fixture someone can have. I think Palmer can shine even in situations like this. But if you don't like Palmer because of the tough fixture, you can choose to bench Palmer or use another midfielder. In the forward line, I go with Haaland, of course. He's the best choice for game week 29 and he will be our captain also. And I'm also choosing Wood. He's a good striker. He scored a bunch of goals. Much more tough opponents than Ipswich, I think. Much more tough opponents than Ipswich, I think. He can do it again. I have Raul Jimenez as a backup option in the bench. I think Jimenez and Palmer are about the same. Maybe if you don't like Palmer, you can use Jimenez instead. A major debate this week is whether to sell Salah, who has no fixture in game week 29, to fund a transfer for Haaland. According to the data, Haaland is expected to score slightly more points than Salah over the next few game weeks. Does this mean we should sell Salah to get Haaland? Not necessarily. If we analyze each game week individually, we see that Haaland only has a better projection in game week 29, where Salah does not play, and game week 30. After that, Salah is expected to outscore Haaland in most game weeks. Additionally, Haaland is at least 1 million more expensive than Salah, which could be problematic for your budget. If you sell Salah now and later want to buy him back, you will likely lose a lot of money due to the team value changes. On the other hand, it is not entirely crazy to make the move. If you have a squad filled with budget players who need upgrading for future double game weeks, the extra money saved by not getting Haaland might be crucial. For example, if players like Mitoma, Gordon or Bowen have a double game week, you may want to bring them in for cheaper options like Kluivert, Semenyo or Ouattara, but without the necessary funds you won't be able to do so. If you still have the assistant manager chip, keep in mind that activating it costs money and you need enough budget flexibility to afford any manager. Overall, buying Haaland is a risk because if anything goes wrong, you might struggle to fix your team later. Now that we have analyzed all the data, let's look at the transfers we have decided to make for our own team. As seen in the image, we have 3 free transfers, but we have decided to use only 2 of them. We're moving out Arnold for Gvardiol and Cunha for Wood. These moves allow us to field exactly 11 players for Gameweek 29 while saving one transfer for future game weeks. As we discussed earlier, saving transfer is crucial for navigating the upcoming blank and double game weeks. Additionally, we are keeping 3.1 million in the bank, which will be useful for the assistant manager chip and selling Dango Atara, who has lost his starting spot at Bournemouth and needs to be replaced with a better midfielder. Since there are not strong midfield options at Ouattara's price point, we will need additional funds to upgrade him, and we now have that flexibility thanks to our saved budget. If you had our team, what moves would you make? Let us know in the comments if you would have done anything differently. Thank you very much for watching this video. I wish you the best of luck with your FPL team and hope you see many big green arrows. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and of course subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Goodbye.